How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be taking a look at some wildcard drafts that I've been kind of drawing up. Me personally, I've been kind of maybe teetering on potentially wildcarding, but I thought, you know what, maybe a few hits might be able to accomplish what I want going forward. But we're going to take a look at some wildcards because I know some of you have been hitting the wildcard button and getting in Ronaldo, getting in Lukaku, and getting in everyone else that you could need going into game week 4 onwards. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already, and turn those notification bells on so you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can see any FPL updates or any releases for any of our platforms, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our FPL preview and deadline streams, which will be starting up next week, so the week coming Monday at 7 p.m. EST for our Game Week 4 preview, and the deadline stream will be as per normal on Saturdays, 1 hour before the FPL deadline. There's also a pinned comment down below so that you can see more details on that. So without further ado, let's talk about our partners for the season with Fantasy Football Scout. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool, you have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. So the first draft that we have here is the Cr7 draft, or the Cristiano Ronaldo draft. Everyone's looking to bring him in. Everyone wants him. Everyone wants to have him captain for that Newcastle game, assuming that he's going to play. So this is under the assumption on all these drafts that the players are 1, fit, 2, most likely going to start, and 3, you're going to have them basically for the foreseeable future, at least the next 3 game weeks. It's not like they're going to be out for international duty or something like that, where they have to miss a game because of some type of suspension, via UEFA or FIFA or whatever it may be, because there is speculation that some players that weren't allowed to go on international duty, I think some of the Mexican players, Raul Jimenez, I think is one of them, they want to basically ban them for 5 days. They force isolate them, as it were, for 5 days so that they can't play in their first game back in game week 4. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So this is on the assumption that all these players are playing, and that goes for all 3 drafts. But let's get into the draft. So I've gone with just a pretty simple pairing in goal, just a 4.5 million and a 4.0 goalkeeper. That could easily be Sanchez and Steele, but I've gone with Backman and Elliott just because Foster is just flagged and it looks a little bit nicer when you have less flags, especially not a red one, in your FPL team. At the back, we've gone with something is quite solid. All of these defenders are looking to be starters, basically. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luke Shaw, no surprises there. Luke Shaw could also easily be 5.4 million Luca Digne at that price bracket. The squad value is 100.6 million. I almost said 10.6 million. That'd be a bargain. 100.6 million. So if it doesn't fit into your budget slightly, you can also adjust things around. And these are also accounting for price rise and that sort of stuff. So when I've accumulated the squad value for all of these drafts, Ben Rama and Antonio, as an example, were purchased at the price point. So what you see on the screen is just based on because I have Antonio and Ben Rama, but the squad value is based on if you were to buy the players right now at the time of recording, which is Saturday, the 4th of September. So, Luke Shaw, 5.5 million. I think he's fantastic. I think now that Ronaldo's in the team, especially that combination, you can easily see Luke Shaw crossing the ball into the box from open play, and Ronaldo heading the ball in the net or on a corner or anything like that. He also crossed the ball in for another Harry Maguire goal on England duty as well. Nelson Semedo, 4.9 million, a very attacking fullback for Wolves. They've been pretty unlucky and have been quite attacking Not sure how they haven't scored, but I think it was like 5.4 xG in total, and they haven't scored yet. But Semedo is definitely going to be quite attacking. You can go with a little bit safer of a pick in Connor Cody, who's the captain, and he is someone who's just going to get you that 0.4 extra million. But if you want something a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more exciting, Semedo is probably your guy. And speaking of exciting, we have finally some emerging cheap defenders. Brandon Williams has gone on loan from Manchester United to Norwich, and he looks to be playing at left back, although that isn't great for him. But he is a starter from what we can tell at 4 million, so he looks to be the solid pick on the bench, as well as Livramento at Southampton, who's going to be the fullback who probably should have had an assist. Obafemi put the ball over the crossbar at, I don't know, around 2 yards out from goal, something like that. I'm not sure how he managed to do that, but if I'm a Livramento owner, I'd be like kind of mad a little bit that it wasn't able to get an assist. But those two are going to definitely be involved as well. Very good bench options at the moment based on how they're starting. And the other bench option would be Billy Gilmore in our midfield. He could be obviously any 4.5 million midfielder. I also think there's a 4.4 million midfielder as well. That you could put into your team if you wanted that extra 0.1. I think he plays. I think it's Mendy for Leicester, if I'm correct. So if you want that extra 0.1, you can. But most likely you want starters as cheap as possible. Gilmore, Williams, and Livramento are going to be ones that occasionally you might bring in Livramento, but Gilmore, Williams, most likely not. Then in midfield, we've gone with two cheaper midfielders. Ben Rama's obviously been hyped from Game Week 2 onwards. Everyone's been bringing him in. Goal and assist in the first 2 game weeks. He's been in my team since Game Week 1, so I would definitely keep him. Rafinha, who's going to have great fixtures from Game Week 4 onwards. You'll bring him in on your wild card. He plays Liverpool, which you could get something there. Game Week 5 onwards is probably more favorable fixtures in terms of what they look like. But he might get something at Liverpool. They might be open at the back and can definitely be susceptible on the counter if played correctly. And then you have the Liverpool double up in midfield, Jota and Salah. And this is under the assumption that Firmino is going to be injured for a few game weeks. Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult later on if you wanted to arrange transfers to not have both of these guys for Game Week 7 when they play Manchester City. So that might be something that you could potentially change things out. Or you can go into Game Week 7 with 2 free transfers, and then you can change out Trent Alexander-Arnold for the likes of Reece James or Antonio Rudiger or a Chelsea defender. And you could swap Diego Jota to the likes of Mason Mount. Or if you have a little bit extra cash, you can... from the Trent money, you can go to Havertz or whoever you think is going to play for Chelsea in that front 3. And then Salah obviously picks himself. Good few fixtures after the Leeds game as well. I believe Brentford's one of them. Crystal Palace at home's another one. And then the forward line, Antonio, he's not going anywhere from any of my drafts because he's Antonio and he's been playing well. He's only going to play one international game, which I think he played last night, Friday night, because he would risk having to be quarantined for the Game Week 4 game. So he's going to be coming back and hopefully fit and ready and available for Game Week 4. Calvert-Lewin's currently flagged, but assuming that he's fit as well, he has a great run of 3 fixtures, one of them starting off with Burnley at home this coming game week. So he's going to be, very important. 3 goals and 3 on penalties as well. So he is someone that we definitely look at as a little bit more keen in the forward line because he is a lot cheaper than some of the premiums, and he's on penalties as well, which we didn't think of beforehand. But he's risen in price from 8 million to 8.2, and he could be a very good pick going forward and maybe just a mainstay in our teams if he continues to perform. And then lastly, Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, he's arguably the best player of all time. In my opinion, he is. And at 12.5 million, that seems... I thought he was going to be more. I thought he was going to be 13 or 13.5. But he's coming at 12.5, same price to Salah. And there is a decision to be made over him versus Lukaku. I think the Newcastle game is the one kicker that I would say is pushing him slightly ahead for the captaincy, assuming that he plays this week. He's come back early from Portugal duty as well. He does seemingly have to isolate for 5 days, but that would still mean he's in training by Wednesday, which means he has Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for training, so he should be fine to start, in my opinion. And I think that they're going to make it every every way possible to make sure that he's ready and available to start for that game at home to Newcastle. And the last time Ronaldo played in the Premier League versus Newcastle, they won 6-0 and he scored a hat-trick. So if that doesn't improve his argument more so than what it already was, I don't know what will. But now, with that draft out of the way, let's take a look at a draft that's slightly different, that still maintains the Man United kind of players in there, but goes for Lukaku over Cr7. Now this draft comes in at a squad value just under 100 million, 99.8 million. And remember, these are players. I bought them at the price that you see on the screen, but I accumulated their value as if I bought them brand new. So Antonio and Benrahma are 0.2 higher than what you see on the screen. So with the extra bit of money of downgrading from Ronaldo to Lukaku, you get that extra 1 million. You can upgrade places elsewhere, and I've used that 0.5 million in different places, notably in Ferran Torres in midfield, as well as Sa in goal. And we've also dropped another 0.5 million on Fernandes just to keep the United the United player in there for the Newcastle game. And we've left enough money in the bank to make a move elsewhere afterwards in Game Week 5, which we'll talk about in a second. But Sa, I think, is someone who didn't play particularly well versus United. He gave up the goal that he probably should have saved to Mason Greenwood. But I think he can definitely improve. I think the clean sheets is what you're going to get out of him. And I think with the double up with Cody, who's the cheaper defender here, over the likes of Nelson Semedo, you can get, clean sheet after clean sheet for the next few game weeks because Wolves' fixtures are fantastic. They play a lot of teams in the FDR2 rating, which is just, on paper would seem like a very, very good fixture for them. Remember, they only lost 1-0 in their first 3 opening fixtures, but they were pretty bad in those opening 3. Playing Spurs, playing United, most notably in the first 2, as well as Leicester. And then the other back 4 picks themselves as well. Again, Williams and Livramento, I mean, they're just 2 cheap defenders that you're going to have there. They're going to come in when you need them to. And then Trent and Shaw, again, mainstays in my opinion. Shaw's value goes up for me with Ronaldo in the team as well. You also often see Ronaldo drifting out to the left-hand side, which would mean Fernandes would push forward into the box more, which could enhance Fernandes' goal scoring from open play. Maybe not so from penalties, because Ronaldo is most likely going to take those, but I think Shaw's value definitely goes up as well. And I don't think Fernandes is a dead FPL asset. I think he can still maintain because he can score from open play, and he often gets in the box quite a lot and is very good at shooting. Then into midfield, Jota's still there. Let's talk about Ferran Torres a little bit as well. 7.1 million, he's increased in price. Now, City didn't get a striker. Their only basic real striker that they have at the club currently is Gabriel Jesus, and he looks to be fighting it out over on the right-hand side with Riyad Mahrez, which means Ferran Torres would be playing through the middle as a midfielder for 7 million for the team that won the league last season. Seems like a no-brainer to me personally, assuming Ferran Torres can stay fit. And with City, with the fixtures, you basically got to ignore them. 7 million for a midfielder that's playing pretty much up front, that is really good finishing. He also said in an interview recently that he sees himself in this mold of player that can play this position, and Pep Guardiola has basically told him a lot about it. So I think Ferran Torres should be a shoo-in for a lot of FPL drafts, assuming you go with this sort of type of formation in a 3-4-3. I think in a 3-5-2, in a 4-4-2, I think Ferran Torres is definitely under consideration. I think him, Benrahma, Jota, Rafinha are 4 midfielders that I'd be closely keeping an eye on and hoping that they could come into any wildcard draft personally. And then in the forward line, we have obviously Romelu Lukaku there, and he's just going to be future-proofing for a transfer that we're most certainly going to make, or a lot of teams are going to make, in Game Week 7 when he has Southampton at home. And then that Chelsea run of fixtures is just beautiful, and we're going to be bringing in Chelsea players for that as well. And what we will do, I talked about a move that we can make in Game Week 5 and then potentially set ourselves up. So what it would be Fernandes would be swapped out in Game Week 5 to Game Week 6 for, we'd have Salah for Game Week 5 and Game Week 6. Because we have enough money in the bank, at least with my team, most teams probably should, would have Fernandes swapped out for Salah in Game Week 5. You would bank a transfer in Game Week 6, and then you could swap out Jota and Trent and be able to get like Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Alonso, Rudiger, any defender for Chelsea, and then swap out Jota for Havertz, Mount, Ziyech, or whoever you want in that position as well. And then you have triple Chelsea going into game week 7 onwards, and then you still have Salah. You know, not ideal for game week 7 specifically versus Man City, but you never know. He can always get something. I believe he scored last time he played them as well, getting a penalty. And, you know, Torres and Salah will be playing against each other. But the following week he has Watford away, so I think that's going to be a fantastic pick going forward. And Salah can score against anybody. I mean, he got a penalty versus Chelsea. You know, a bit fortunate on that front, as I think Chelsea did quite well to at least get a draw out of the game, potentially more. And also, you have Luke Shaw as well. You could take him out if you wanted to keep Trent long-term. A straight swap with most Chelsea defenders at that price point, if not all of them, barring Ben Chilwell. And I think that this draft could definitely set you up further down the road. And you'll just have a set-and-forget goalkeeper as well. Begovic could be any 4 million goalkeeper as well, I might add. And I think this could definitely suit you longer term. Calvert-Lewin would come out in probably game week 8, and you can go for any different forward there. You can downgrade all the way down if you wanted to. If it looks like Edouard, as an example, at Crystal Palace at 6.5 million, you can get some decent value there. And then you could potentially upgrade later on the likes of Ferran Torres if he's just not working out, or Ben Rama's fixtures start to go south. You can get a different midfield in there. Bring Jota back in as an example with that money as well. Now, with that being said, we've done 2 drafts which have 2 sets of premiums basically, with Lukaku and Fernandes in this one, and the likes of Ronaldo and Salah in the first one. But what about a draft with 3 premiums in it? Now, with the 3 premium draft, you have to go a little bit lighter in defense. You have to basically strain out your midfield to much cheaper options, and then you have probably the best captaincy options for anything going forward. Now, there is one caveat to this draft. It's a squad value of 100.5 million, so it is a little bit more on the expensive side for our current squads. It means that you don't have the likes of Luke Shaw. You have to go with a little bit cheaper defenders. It means you can't realistically go up to Jota or somebody like that without sacrificing Trent or somebody else in your team, one of the premiums. And lastly, it also means that on a game-to-game week basis, you might see a situation where 2 out of your 3 forwards are going to be giving you a red arrow because of their effective ownership. But with that being said, Lukaku, Ronaldo, and Salah, they're all players that are fantastic. They all score a boatload of points. They're all most likely, almost certainly, in the case of Salah and Ronaldo, but we're still not sure yet, and Lukaku will be taking penalties for their team, and they're going to score you a lot of points. They're expensive for a reason, so you can shuffle and change them out as you see fit, because you have 2 forwards. So if you think Kane's going to be good in a few weeks, this coming week or something like that, take out Ronaldo, put in Kane. Or you think that the likes of Salah, is not looking as good, and Man City's fixtures are great, take him out, put in De Bruyne when he's fit. You have a lot of slots where these big money players can be swapped out immediately for 1-for-1 rather than having to bank a transfer, which would be the situation in the first 2 drafts. Let's say you have Salah and Ronaldo, and you wanted to get the likes of Romelu Lukaku. You had to significantly hinder your team, or you have to do a straight swap for those players, because your money is spread out a little bit in defense, a little bit else in your slightly more expensive mid-price midfielders. Well, let's review the draft. So in goal, Sanchez and Steele. Again, that could be a 4.5 and 4.0 combination. Cody and Ayling. I like these 2 defenders for their upcoming fixtures. Ayling has Liverpool this coming game week, but you could just play Cody because he has a fantastic fixture as well. You also have Trent Alexander-Arnold is in there. Livramento Williams, again, a great, fantastic, cheap duo for 8.1 million. Gilmore, again, can be any 4.5 million midfielder. Rafinha can also be downgraded if you wanted to go with 2 6 million midfielders as well. So if you wanted to go with like Sarr and Harrison as an example, or Dan James, if he starts becoming prevalent at Leeds, you can definitely do that. But I've gone with Rafinha, a little bit more of a popular pick and more involved, most likely also on set plays. And Demarai Gray, someone whose stats haven't shown that he's been good, but he has been performing well and scoring FPL points. And he was 5.5 million, but it's gone up over this international break as well. Ben Rama and Antonio, the ever-present duo in there. And then you have the big 3 premiums. You have Romelu Lukaku, you have Cristiano Ronaldo, and you have Mohamed Salah as well. So you could basically, if you ever needed to cut one of these players, you could definitely do that. Now, Ronaldo in game week 8 onwards. Game week 7, they have Everton at home, which I think is not an FDR rating of 4, but will be a little bit trickier than, let's say Norwich or somebody like that. You can get rid of him in game week 8 onwards if you really wanted to. Let's say Demarai Gray wasn't doing it, or his fixtures are bad from 7 onwards. You can get rid of Ronaldo. You can then upgrade the likes of Gray to another midfielder. Maybe Son's looking good, or Ferran Torres is actually doing really well. And then you could downgrade Ronaldo to basically any forward in the game. If Jimenez is on fire, you can go for Wilson, assuming he's fit, and his fixtures are looking okay. Many different things that you can do with the premiums, but it makes sure that you have a captaincy decision that is going to be solid every week. So in game week 4, you have Lukaku versus Aston Villa at home. You have Ronaldo, Newcastle at home as well. Game week 5. Lukaku and Ronaldo's fixtures aren't as good, but you have Salah, who plays, I believe, it's either Crystal Palace at home or Brentford away. And then in game week 6, same thing. Game week 7, you have Ronaldo versus Everton at home, Lukaku at Southampton at home, while Salah plays Man City. And then in game week 8, you have Lukaku as well with a great fixture. Salah also has a great fixture. So you always have at least 2 captaincy choices, which you'll have to make a decision by, which you can see as a plus and a minus as well. So if you think that the captaincy decision is going to be split among the 2, then maybe you could have 2 very highly owned players, and it's about making that correct decision. If you do make that correct decision, not only are you going to get the points from the premium asset, but you're also going to be up on the premium kind of battle, as it were, for the captaincy. Now it's going to be a tricky game, and it may come down to a little bit more luck, but you can always make the right decision and potentially it not work out, which is the risk that you would take. And again, their effective ownership might mean that if Salah does really well and you captain Lukaku and he blanks, then you have a much bigger rank drop than you would have if you just didn't have Salah and went with somebody else, basically, or you just captained them and got the captaincy right. So it is a bit tricky on that front, but I think this draft can do quite well. Me personally, I would go for 2 premiums. I think it's a little bit better. It allows you to make your funds a little bit more spread out, a little bit more value in other places like Semedo, like Shaw, like Ferran Torres, like Calvert-Lewin, these sorts of players that can, are a lot cheaper, won't be 100% effective, plus ownership, which will mean you'd get a red arrow if you didn't captain them, and that sort of stuff. So that's going to do it for all the drafts. Let me know which one in the comments down below you think is the best, or what drafts you're potentially looking at as well. We will take a look in the comments as well and rate those and kind of critique them and give our feedback on those as well. And that is going to do it for our Game Week 4 Wildcard Drafts. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel. And turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Make sure to drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news. And drop us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our FPL preview and deadline streams. There'll be a pinned comment down below to let you know when that next stream is going to be. And lastly, use the link down in the description below so that you can get your Fantasy Football Scout membership. It's £25 during the year and is 20% off during the preseason. But don't worry, even if you have the you don't get the discount, it's still worth having at £25. I think it's fantastic. You have all the different tools that you can use in there, as well as customizable stats tables powered by Opta stats, and it's going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.